Hello, welcome back to News of Asha. Today is 13th of August 2023. Let's see what's happening in the world today. Maui wildfires, deadliest in a century after death toll hits 89. Kahului, Hawaii. The death toll from the Maui wildfires is now 89, officials said on Saturday, making it the deadliest US wildfires in more than a century. Governor Josh Green warned at a news conference on Saturday afternoon that the death toll would continue to rise as more bodies were discovered. Officials vote to examine the state of emergency notification systems after some residents questioned whether more could have been done to warn people before the fire overtook their homes. Some were forced to wade into the Pacific Ocean to escape. Siren stations around the island intended to warn of an impending natural disaster never sounded, and widespread power and cellular outage hampered other forms of alerts. The disaster began just after midnight on Tuesday when a brush fire was reported in the town of Kula, roughly 35 miles from Lahaina. About 5 hours later, power was knocked out in Lahaina. In updates posted on Facebook that morning, Maui County said a 3-acre brush fire cropped in Lahaina at about 6:30 a.m. but had been contained by 10 a.m. Some residents began evacuating, while people, including hotel guests on the town's west side, were instructed to shelter in place. In the ensuing hours, the country posted a series of evacuation orders on Facebook, though it's not clear whether residents were receiving them, as people frantically fled the fast advancing flames. Some witnesses said they had little warning, describing their terror as the blaze destroyed the town around them in what seemed to be a matter of minutes. I'm just wondering, a few years ago, Hawaii had a statewide warning whereby everyone was alerted via their phones. I wonder why that system was not used, but I guess maybe the power outage had taken out most of the cell towers. Then again, one would assume that those cell towers would have its own independent backup power supplies. So I guess the investigations into this unfortunate event will have to be taken priority in order to see that this circumstance never takes place again. Russia says it thwarts Ukrainian attacks on Crimean bridge. August 12th. Ukrainian forces targeted the Crimean bridge and a number of other unspecified targets on the Crimean Peninsula on Saturday in a flurry of rockets and drone attacks, but there were no casualties or damage, Russia Defense Ministry said. Russia's foreign minister vowed retaliation for what is called a terrorist attack on the bridge in Crimea, which Moscow forcibly annexed from Ukraine in 2014. Russia's defense ministry said Ukraine had unsuccessfully tried to strike the bridge across Kerch Strait with S-200 rockets, forcing it temporary closure to traffic. A fresh attack on Saturday afternoon again shut down the bridge. The Ukrainian missiles was detected in a timely manner and was intercepted in the air by Russian air defense systems. No damage or casualties were reported, the defense ministry said. Drone attacks on Russian-controlled territories in Ukraine and deep inside Russia have increased since the drone was destroyed over Kremlin in early May. The Crimean bridge was badly damaged last October in a powerful blast that Russian officials said was caused by a truck that blew up while crossing the bridge, killing 3 people. Ukrainian's SBU, Domestic Intelligence Agency, later claimed responsibility for the sabotage operation. The bridge, which is the only direct link between the transport network of Russia and the peninsula, was a flagship project for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who opened it for road traffic to much fanfare by driving a truck across it in 2018. This is an unfortunate event that bridges are being targeted, but unfortunately this is war. Let's hope a peace solution can be found soon. 5 dead, 40,000 evacuated as monsoon floods hit Myanmar. Bago, Myanmar. Floods and landslides caused by monsoon rains have killed 5 people and forced the evacuation of about 40,000 others in Myanmar, officials said on Friday, August 11th. Footage from Rakhine State, which was ravaged in May by Cyclone Mocha, showed large areas of villages and farmland submerged by murky yellow-brown waters. There are floods every year in Bago, but this one is the worst. Normally the water is around knee or thigh deep during the rainy season, Bago resident Sao Ming Aung, 23, said to AFP, adding that his family had scrambled to buy a boat. Myanmar is in the grip of a bloody civil conflict between the junta, which seized power in February 2021 coup, and civilian militias opposed to its rule. The United Nations sharply criticized the junta for its handling of the aftermath of Cyclone Mocha, which killed at least 148 people and destroyed many homes. It condemned authorities' refusal to allow aid workers to access the region, prompting state media to accuse the world body of arrogance, ignorance, and self-interest. This is a very interesting situation. People want to send aid, and the state media accuses them of being arrogant or ignorant. I don't understand what's going on, but maybe that is the plan, to let people die. I don't know. Let's hope a solution can be found soon. Migrant boat sinks in channel, killing 6 people. 6 people have died after a boat carrying migrants sank in the channel off the French coast. The French Coast Guard said the vessel got into difficulty in the sea near Calais in the early hours of Saturday. 59 people, many of them Afghans, were rescued by French and British Coast Guards, officials said. But the search for 2 people who may still be missing has been called off. Rescue crews said that this is the 7th time this week that they have had to pull people from the water, raising concerns that smugglers organizing the crossings may be using a defective batch of boats. Well, they're smugglers. I really don't think they care about human lives. They're more interested in money, I guess. Although the incident happened in French territory, with this type of operations, British and French rescue teams work together to rescue as many people as possible. I just hope the whole world can work together to solve all of our problems. They added, this incident is sadly another reminder of the extreme dangers of crossing the channel in small boats and how vital it is that we break the people's smugglers' business model and stop the boats. Yes, in my opinion, we should just send in the military and shoot down every pirate ship out there. I don't know, maybe that will take too much effort. Don't ask why. South Korea grapples with back-to-back Mutjima stabbings. On 3rd August, 14 people were injured in Seongnam, southeast of Seoul, when a man rammed his car into pedestrians near a subway stop and then ran into a department store where he stabbed 9 people. 1 woman died later from her injuries. Just days earlier, on 21st July, another man had attacked a commuter in the capital, killing 1 person and stabbing 3 more at a subway station. He later told police he lived a miserable life and wanted to make others miserable too. This is a very sad situation that's taking place in South Korea, but in my opinion, this is probably taking place many other places in the world. It's just that South Korea might have a far more independent and open news media that's willing to talk about it. In South Korea, they are known as Don't Ask Why or Mutjima crimes, inexplicable acts of violence targeting strangers driven by no personal link to the victims or obvious motive. While overall data shows no rise in violent crime, South Korea last year in fact recorded its lowest rates in a decade. The recent stabbings have driven the perception that Mutjima acts are more common and society more dangerous. This may not be true, but unfortunately that's the perception you're going to get when attacks like this happen in such close proximity to each other. Experts have pointed to underlying social pressures in South Korean society, from unstable job prospects and housing to a continued stigma around mental health and lack of support services. Police said Choi had not received adequate treatment. What fueled continued anxiety among the public after last week's stabbing was the wave of threats that popped up, vowing copycat attacks. In response, police mounted a special enforcement operation for the weekend, dispatching thousands more officers to public sites. They were told to stop and search suspicious-looking people. At least 1 person was arrested after he was seen carrying a knife in public. A thorough investigation to identify the specific motive of the horrifying crime should be carried out. At the same time, police must take steps to prevent copycat crimes. Let's hope we can address this problem and give the proper help that the people that are involved in this circumstance requires, so that we can prevent further problems from happening in the future. Not just about receiving a salary. Why some adults in China have become full-time children. 1 in 5 youths in Chinese cities is unemployed, and the situation could worsen before it improves. The program Money Minds finds out why some people cannot find jobs and the unconventional choices made. Since the start of the year, vlogger Zhang Jieyi's typical working day has looked like this. Taking morning walks with her parents, accompanying them to the market for groceries, preparing lunch, then taking a nap before tending to her chores. The 31-year-old is a full-time daughter, a concept and social media hashtag that has surfaced as China's youth unemployment in cities hits record levels. I wonder if full-time son is also appropriate, but I doubt that is simply because males and females have different roles in society, and a female caretaker seems to be acceptable, but a male caretaker may seem like a useless man. Unemployment among 16 to 24-year-olds in China urban areas rose to 21% in June, compared with 4.1% among those aged 25 to 59, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics. As a new cohort of 11.6 million graduates joined the workforce this summer, the figure could rise further. I don't really trust any numbers coming out of China, so therefore I would just assume that these numbers are twice or 3 times as worse as what's being reported. Tertiary education enrollment increased from 30% in 2012 to nearly 60% last year, official figures shows. They are being educated and brought up for high-end jobs, tech jobs, or jobs that require higher education, said Nancy Kwan, Professor of Managerial Economics and Decision Sciences of Northwestern University in the United States. As a result, many graduates, including master degree holders, are working as ride-hailing drivers and food delivery workers, she cited. Zhu has even come across graduates from prestigious schools like Tsinghua University applying for sanitation jobs that typically require only a high school or junior high school education. This is not just a problem that's facing China. In truth, this is a problem facing everywhere in the world. As we just saw in the previous article, youth are feeling that they are useless and do not have a prospect for the future. And unfortunately, this is a problem that's not being addressed because all the people in power are naturally boomers, and all they are worried about is their retirement and their future, and they don't really care much about the youth. So the youth are just being swept aside. We'll just have to wait for the youth to come into power before these problems might actually be able to be solved. Unfortunately, when the youth come into power, they will no longer be youth. So this is going to be a very interesting circumstance to see how it plays out in the long run. How Amazon is racing to catch Microsoft and Google in generative AI with custom AWS chips. In an unmarked office building in Austin, Texas, 2 small rooms contain a handful of Amazon employees designing 2 types of chip for training and accelerating generative AI. These custom chips, Inferentia and Trainium, offer AWS customers an alternative to training their large language models on NVIDIA GPUs, which have been getting difficult and expensive to produce. AWS quietly started production of custom silicon back in 2013 with a piece of specialized hardware called Nitro. It's now the highest volume AWS chip, Amazon told CNBC. There is at least one in every AWS server with a total of more than 20 million in use. In 2015, Amazon bought Israeli chip startup Annapurna Labs. Then in 2018, Amazon launched its ARM-based server chip Graviton, a rival to the x86 CPUs from giants like AMD and Intel. Probably high single digit to maybe 10% of total server sales are ARM, and a good chunk of those are going to be Amazon. So on the CPU side, they've done quite well, says Stacy Resnon, senior analyst of Bernstein Research. For now, however, NVIDIA GPUs are still king when it comes to training models. In July, AWS launched a new AI acceleration hardware powered by NVIDIA H100s. NVIDIA chips have a massive software ecosystem that's been built up around them over the last 15 years that nobody else has, Resgon said. The big winner from AI right now is NVIDIA. Despite that, AWS cloud dominance, however, is a big differentiating factor for Amazon. Amazon does not need to win headlines. Amazon already has a really strong cloud install base. All they need to do is to figure out how to enable their existing customers to expand into value creation motions using generative AI, Dikate said. I can tell you how many Fortune 500 companies I've talked to who have banned ChatGPT. So, with our approach to generative AI and our Bedrock service, anything you do, any model you use through Bedrock will be in your own isolated virtual private cloud environment. It'll be encrypted. It'll have the same AWS access controls, Slipsky said. For now, Amazon is only accelerating its push into generative AI, telling CNBC that over 100,000 customers are using machine learning on AWS today. Although that's a small percentage of AWS millions of customers, analysts said that could change. And in my opinion, that will definitely change, not because Amazon is going towards or working towards AI, simply because the whole world is going to end up being AI. Therefore, if you do not have any functions that allow you to use AI, you're probably going to go out of business. Binance seeks registration in Taiwan under Money Laundering Control Act and FSC. Binance, the global leader in cryptocurrency exchange by trading volume, has submitted an application for registration in Taiwan according to Money Laundering Control Act and the Financial Supervisory Commission, FSC. During a private meeting on Tuesday, Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission, FSC, informed numerous local crypto service providers that Binance is seeking anti-money laundering compliance. Taiwan's Financial Supervisory Commission, FSC, appointed as the primary regulator for the cryptocurrency industry in March, is formulating comprehensive guidelines for trading and payments involving cryptocurrencies for virtual asset service providers, according to regulators' statements. Binance expansion in Asia is evident. Operating via Binance International Limited, Taiwan branch Seychelles, it gained government approval for company registration on May 12, 2023. This approval came with a registered capital of $944,000 in Taiwan. In July, Binance also engaged with Taiwan's Criminal Investigation Bureau, collaborating to aid over 200 law enforcement officers to tackle digital asset-related crimes. In another move, Binance extended its presence to Japan. The recent launch in Japan follows its acquisition of Sakura Exchange Bitcoin in November 2022. This strategic move established a foothold in Japan and subjected Binance to regulation by the Japan Financial Service Agency. I wonder why the US is just attacking Binance when they could just do something like all these first world countries are doing, and then just fine them a really big sum. I'm sure Binance will pay and, they can make a lot of money. Unfortunately, I think they are purposefully trying to stifle crypto innovation in the US, and it looks like Asia is the one that is taking up the mantle for the future of crypto. Brazil's Congress moves to levy higher taxes on cryptocurrencies. Brazilian lawmakers are moving forward with a legislation that would raise taxes on cryptocurrencies held overseas, according to local reports. A congressional committee has approved amendments to a bill that recognizes cryptocurrencies as financial assets for tax purposes in foreign investment. In addition, the draft bill taxes gains from fluctuation in crypto asset prices against Brazil's fiat currency, as well as foreign exchange rate fluctuations, according to Congressman Merlong Solano. The revision seeks to promote equal tax treatment since crypto investments abroad currently receive lower tax brackets. Overseas earnings up to 6,000 Brazilian reais will be exempt from taxation under the new rules. Earning between 6,000 and 50,000 reals are subjected to a 15% tax rate. Above these thresholds, taxes will be applied at 22.5%. Recent months have seen a rapid development of crypto-related activities in Brazil. The country's central bank recently announced a rebranding of its central bank digital currency, now called DREX. As part of the launch of DREX, the central bank plans to introduce a tokenization system aimed at expanding business access to capital. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll see you again tomorrow.